Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Minnesota.
Sunny skies in the Windy City is a welcome sight for the Minnesota Twins. It is opening day at U.S. Cellular Field, and the festivities are underway as today's starters prepare for their season debuts. Tommy Milone is looking for a strong start after settling in with his new team. The lone lefty in the Twins rotation will go up against right-hander Hector Noesi as the White Sox try to win their 8th straight home opener. Welcome to opening day at U.S. Cellular Field. I'm Jamie Hirsch. It has been a rough start to the season for both of these teams. It's time to set the stage for this 3-game set here in Chicago. Both the White Sox and the Twins were swept in their opening series against the Royals and Tigers, respectively. But as Paul Mulder said today, it's a new city, a new opponent, and a new start. Today, one of these teams will get its first win of the season. We've seen a pretty even split between these longtime division rivals. The Twins have just one more win than the Sox over the last 15 years in Chicago. We'll watch for a good matchup here today. One advantage for the Twins is a good track record against the Sox starter. Today's lineup has a .300 batting average against Noesi. And while it's a relatively small sample size, they'll look for an edge wherever they can get it as they try to spark something on offense. And speaking of offense, Dick and Bert are up next with a look at the Sox slugger, Jose Abreu, and how Tommy Milone can try to get the best of him today.
At Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
U.S. Cellular Field has been a very friendly ballpark for the Twins to hit in. Tommy Milone hopes that he gets some run support and hopes he can put the Twins in the win column for the first time this year. The White Sox struggling offensively, but they do have last year's American League Rookie of the Year, Jose Abreu, who had quite an impact against the Twins in his rookie season. Dick Kramer, Burt Blyleven with you. Different location, different day, and hopefully the Twins expect a different result here, and they hope to get their first quality start of the year from left-hander Tommy Milone.
Yeah, Dick, that's exactly what the Twins are hoping for. Go deep into the ballgame, Tommy Milone. Don't give up a lot of runs. The Twins need that quality start. He's healthy again. He came over from the Oakland A's, had some soreness in the neck. The season did not end the way that he wanted it. And going into spring training, he said he's healthy. He won that 5th spot in the starting rotation. But here this afternoon, he will be facing one hot hitter and one guy that just basically murdered the Twins last year, Jose Abreu, the American League Rookie of the Year last year. You see the numbers, 27 hits in 69 at-bats. This guy tortured the Twins.
You're probably painfully aware how futile the Twins series in Detroit was. Well, the White Sox had a similar series in Kansas City. A couple of winless teams will square off in the series opener.
Brutal ritual, a furious reunion, 19 games that last an entire season. To have a rivalry, you need a rival. For every David, a Goliath. For every Hatfield, a McCoy. Every Jamie Burke, a Torrey Hunt.
Oh, my goodness! Burke gets flattened!
Every Jim Thome needs, well, Jim Thome.
Deep to right, and there it goes! The first walk-off hit at Target Field in dramatic fashion.
For every fight, a ring to sell it in.
In order to finish first, somebody's got to finish second.
I hate second.
Brian Dozier walks off the White Sox.
Love your rivals because you need someone to beat.
And the Twins and White Sox have been each other's greatest rival in the American League Central for many years. Paul Molitor hoping to pick up his first managerial win here this afternoon after a lost series in Detroit. And the White Sox again had a similar series in Kansas City. The Menards batting order for the Twins a change. Brian Dozier in the leadoff spot in place of Danny Santana, then Eduardo Escobar, Joe Mauer, Torrey Hunter, Kenny Vargas, Trevor Plouffe, Oswaldo Arcia, Kurt Suzuki, and Jordan Schaefer.
And Hector Noesi on the mound for the White Sox.
Noesi, the fourth starter for the White Sox. Twins saw a lot of him last year.
Yeah, 4 starts last year for Noesi against the Twins.
That ball hit hard but fouled down the line. Danny Santana struggling, hitless in Detroit, 0 for 12 on the season, so he'll get 1 day out of the starting lineup, available to play later today, of course, for a substitution. And Dozier hit a lot out of the leadoff spot last year. Quickly behind 0-2. And now 1-2. Mentioned this ballpark's been really kind to the Twins hitters over the years, particularly last year. 9 games here, and the Twins average over 7 runs a game scored here. 2-2. So the Twins, who scored just 1 unearned run in Detroit over 3 games, hope that the change of scenery will do some good.
Noesi with a fastball, tough or tight slider, and a changeup. In his second season with the White Sox.
Dozier taps it foul.
He came over last year in late April, acquired off waivers from the Texas Rangers.
Actually pitched at the big league level for 3 different teams last year. Briefly with Seattle, briefly with Texas, and the bulk of the year spent with the White Sox. Dozier takes up high, 3-2. In addition to not doing much in the hitting department, the Twins in Detroit took only 3 walks. And now Dozier's taken an 0-2 count and run the count full. And a breaking ball. Cutter perhaps. Got Dozier 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the White Sox. Some new faces out there. Melky Cabrera is their new left fielder. Adam Eaton in center. Abasaio Garcia in right. Beckham back with the White Sox, playing at third base today. Ramirez, Micah Johnson, a new player at second. Abreu at first. Tyler Flowers behind the plate.
Yeah, 12 different White Sox players that were not with them last year. So a big turnaround here in Chicago.
And strike 1 to Eduardo Escobar. And on the subject of newness, congratulations to Eduardo Escobar. His son Jose was born this morning. And that just barely made it out of the grass, and that hit Escobar, I believe.
Take a look at this pitch right here. Hit him
right in the chest.
Like it ricocheted off his knee, maybe? That came up and hit him right in the chest.
Well, Escobar will walk to first.
Catching his breath a little bit. Paul Molitor saying something to him that made him smile.
Well, Escobar's aboard, and that'll bring up Mauer. Escobar, by the way, will leave the club after the game today and return to the Twin Cities to see his new son for the first time.
Congratulations to them. It's the 3rd son for the Escobar family.
Here is Mauer, a hit in each game in Detroit.
Mauer has enjoyed hitting against the Chicago White Sox over his career. Career .320 hitter in 48 games.
And Mauer takes a strike on the outside corner. Messi pretty stingy, giving up hits last year, his first year in a White Sox uniform. And he pitched extensively, regularly in their rotation, gave up an opponent batting average of just .233. Low 90s fastball. Mauer with a swing and a miss, 0-2.
Yeah, he's always kind of a spot starter. Came up with the Yankees, then the Mariners, the Rangers. But here in Chicago last year, after they got him, they put him in the rotation. 8 wins, 11 losses as a starter for Noesi.
Escobar hasn't been much of a threat to steal for the Twins. Twins haven't been able to do any base running. They've not only not scored, but they've given up early runs in all 3 of their games. And kicks away to the backstop, and Escobar will go to second. Wessy's fired a couple of them in the dirt. One of them hit Escobar. The next one allows him to go to second.
Yeah, it's almost a slider or a split finger. Let's take a look right here. Looks like a split finger that just shot up on Flowers, got behind him. So a wild pitch will be charged to Vanessa, who had 9 of them last year.
1-2 to Mauer. A hit to the outfield might produce the first Twins run batted in. Mauer scored the first run of the season for the Twins yesterday. There's a liner to right field, a base hit. Escobar around third. He's being waved in. Garcia's throw well off the line, and the Twins score a run in the first and take their first lead of the season.
Well, a good piece of hitting by Joe Mauer, picking up that first RBI. Little two-seamer that Joe just dropped the barrel of the bat, lined it in front of Garcia. The throw offline that allows Escobar to score the first run of the game.
Significant again, Mauer pulling a pitch down and away from him. That's not something we would see him, I don't think, even try last year, but he's spent so much time working with Tom Bernansky on being a little more pull conscious. An RBI single putting the Twins in front. Hunter, check swing, and a foul, 1 strike. One strike to Hunter. Right field line and foul, and another 0-2 count.
Escobar, you see him in the dugout, hit by a wild pitch, advanced to second on the wild pitch, hit by batter. He got on, wild pitch, and then Mauer drove him in.
Flare down the line. Garcia, which is a go about 4 rows back. Twins won the season series with the White Sox last year, 10 games to 9. But by all accounts, opinion of a lot of people in baseball, the White Sox won the month of January in terms of off-season transactions, trades, free agent signings. Strikes again to Hunter. Popped up near the mound. Micah Johnson with the catch, 2 away. And we'll bring up Vargas. White Sox did not get a quality start in Kansas City. They hit the ball only marginally better than the Twins did. They did score 7 runs, but 3 of those runs came on a 3-run home run in a loss to the Royals. Vargas, the designated hitter. Outside, ball 1. We've seen the results of Vargas's efforts to, unlike Mauer trying to pull the ball, Vargas trying to use the whole field the other way. Teams last year regularly pull shifted him. And we haven't seen that. I mean, because he's gotten some hits to the left side, hit the ball with authority to the opposite field.
Yeah, we'll see the tremendous power he has throughout the summer, but also a very good hitter, like you mentioned, the other way. And he has power that way.
2-1. The Twins have some hitters with great success, including Jordan Schaefer, 4 for 6 with a couple of home runs.
Not a lot of at-bats, but there is some success. You see Vargas right there on the right, 1 for 3. with a home run.
Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Noesi from the Dominican Republic, 28 years old, signed by the Yankees as a free agent back in 2004. Made his major league debut with the Yankees in 2011.
Two and two to Vargas. Now full count. That'll allow Mauer to depart early from first base. Trevor Plouffe on deck if Vargas can extend the inning. Mauer goes, and Vargas takes ball 4. The ball gets by Flowers. Mauer with a big turn. It's been a very erratic first inning for Hector Noesi, and Plouffe will have a chance with 2 men aboard. A hit batter, a walk, a wild pitch.
Well, it looked like he tried that split finger on 3-2, and again it kind of skipped off of home plate past Flowers, but Joe advancing to second.
Flowers giving some signs in front of home plate. Playing with the lead already, and Plouffe hoping to deliver a big first inning hit. Away, ball 1. The 25th pitch already for Noesi. Again, the White Sox pitched poorly in Kansas City. They're hoping for their number 4 starter to step up and give them a good game today. 2-0.
He's falling behind and getting into that fastball mode. He did give up 28 home runs last year. He had 27 starts. Wind blowing out to left.
Trevor chases. 2-1.
Saw right there, Trevor kind of backed away from the box and then realized, okay, I have to get back in.
Yeah. And that hit the corner, 2-2.
A good pitch right there, fastball in. Trevor, I'm sure, looking away right there.
Again, the runners can take off.
Watch Trevor right here. He swung through the pitch, kind of strolled out of the box, and then realized, whoop, how do we get back in that box? I don't want to let her.
Big pitch early here for Hector Noesi. Ball 4, and now Arcia will come up with the bases loaded.
Second straight walk for Noesi. Noesi 56 walks in 173 innings last year. And Don Cooper, the pitching coach, out to talk to his right-hander. A quick trip to the mound by Don Cooper.
Well, we saw Twins pitchers struggle early on. There were so many critical at-bats in the first couple innings with men on base all over the place. And now the Twins have one of those opportunities. They haven't done much to earn it. They've taken some walks, but they filled the bases now, and the guy who's hit pretty well in this ballpark, Arcia, has a chance to deliver the biggest hit of the year for the Twins. Already had 3 full counts. This will be his 30th pitch. Been all over the place. Back-to-back guys, and we'll see what Arcia gets and does with the first pitch.
Reared back and challenged Arcia right there with a fastball. Working out of the windup, bases loaded, 2 outs.
1-1.
Arcia 20 home runs last year in 103 games.
1-2. Two balls have been put in play this inning. Bauer's single, Hunter's pop-up. 1-2 to Arcia. Popped up. Again, near the mound. Beckham with the catch. The Twins get one, the first lead of the season, and leave 3 men on. Last year they finished marginally ahead of the Twins in the standings. The Menards batting order for Ventura and the White Sox. Adam Eaton leading things off. Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu, Avisaíl Garcia, Adam LaRoche, Alexei Ramirez, Gordon Beckham, Tyler Flowers, and Micah Johnson.
And making his 2015 first start, Tommy Milone, looking for his first win as a Twin. Came over last year from the Oakland A's. For Sam Fold, had some injuries, but he says he's ready to go.
Down and away, ball 1.
Now Malone's not overpowering, so he has to hit his spots. He will work both sides of the plate with the fastball. Very good changeup.
Down and away, 2-0.
Adam Eaton, a guy you want to keep off the bases, very speedy.
A strike. Milone will top out in the upper 80s with his fastball. His best pitch probably a changeup, but he needs to throw the fastball to set up the changeup and throw them both over the plate for strikes. Slap foul, 2-2. Milone spent all of spring training just about trying to win the number 5 starter spot for the Twins. His first turn in the rotation comes up in the 4th slot because of the Irvin Santana suspension. 2-2 to Eaton. And now full count with Melky Cabrera on deck. That's down the left field line. Arcia retreating a little bit and retreating some more to make the catch. 1 away.
Yeah, the wind blowing a little bit to left field, so that ball kind of kept drifting on Arcia.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Arcia is back out in left field. We got yesterday off. Schaefer in center, Hunter in right. Kloof, Escobar, Dozier and Bauer, the infielders. Suzuki behind the plate. Chris Herman told me before the game today he's fine. Got a cut on the bridge of his nose after taking a foul tip in the first pitch he saw behind the plate in the ball game yesterday. Here's Melky Cabrera.
Cabrera, one of those new additions to the Chicago White Sox.
Strike one.
Signed a 3-year contract with the White Sox over the winter as a free agent. Last couple seasons with the Toronto Blue Jays.
On the ground, Santana has it. Or excuse me, Escobar. 2 down. You know, objective number one, or at least the thing that brought the most attention to the Twins in spring training, was the battle for the number 5 spot. A week ago, the Twins were still in Fort Myers. And it has been an eventful week for the Twins. It has not been a good week. It was a week ago today that Santana's suspension was announced. But Malone not only moves up to the 4th spot in the rotation as Abreu stands in, but 2 of his primary competitors for that 5th starter spot are already into the rotation. Mike Pelfrey tomorrow, and Trevor May will make the start in Nolasco's place, who was put on the disabled list today. He'll start Monday at Target Field.
Yeah, you think, spring training, you have the 4 horsemen more or less, and you have that 5th spot, and you're going to, who's going to win? All of a sudden, 3 of the guys are already going to participate here in the next 3 days.
1-1 to Jose Abreu. Red Sox have a couple of home runs. Abreu has one of them. Tyler Flowers the other. 2-1.
What a great first season for Abreu. 28 years old from Cuba. American League Rookie of the Year, made the All-Star team. 36 home runs, drove in 107 runs.
The 3-ball count from Malone, 3-1.
Abreu in that batter's box, pretty close to home plate.
Twins have a pull shift on for the right-handed batting Abreu. Check swing. And Abreu will take a walk. And will bring up Garcia. Malone was able to pitch around the 3-ball count to the leadoff man and get Eaton, but he walks Abreu.
Well, all 4 pitches were inside, too. So that's something that Malone will do. He will pitch right-handers inside.
Garcia batting. 3 hits in 9 at-bats. Missing inside, ball 1.
Garcia got injured last year in April. When he dove for a ball, he tore his labrum diving for a ball in right field. Required shoulder surgery, left shoulder surgery. Played in only 46 ball games, hit .244.
Nice job by Suzuki digging that one out of the dirt. Malone's having a hard time throwing strikes here in this first inning. 6 straight out of the strike zone for Tommy Malone. Seven straight. Adam LaRoche on deck.
Malone, 28 years old, came up with the Nationals, Washington Nationals in 2011. Most of his success with the Oakland A's. 32 major league wins, 23 major league losses. ERA under 4.
Down the middle, Garcia taking all the way. 3-1.
White Sox feel the sky is a limit for this young man right here. Only 23 years old from Venezuela. Came up with the Tigers, spent a couple seasons with the Tigers, and then traded over to the White Sox. Back back on July 30th in the Jake Peavy trade that took him to Boston, a three-team trade.
Back-to-back walks with 2 out.
Both starters having a tough time finding that strike zone here in the first inning.
Twins had a batter hit, took a couple of walks, scored a run in the first, but now with 2 out, the White Sox take a couple of walks. Suzuki knows Malone well. They were battery mates in Oakland. And Adam LaRoche will stand in for the White Sox. His first appearance here on the south side of Chicago as a White Sox player.
Yeah, his career that started in 2004, all in the National League. First season with the White Sox.
One for 11 on the season with 6 strikeouts. Ball 1.
LaRoche, a home run hitter, 243 career home runs. Hit 26 last year for the Nationals. You were asking me earlier, kind of the replacement for Adam Dunn.
The same type of player.
Big swing.
LaRoche will draw a lot of walks. He'll strike out an awful lot, although in recent years he's cut down his strikeout rate a little bit. He has power. Not known as a great average hitter. One and one. Man alive.
He's trying to hit that outer half of the plate and just missing. 22 pitches so far here this inning.
And the count full to Eaton, got him on a fly ball. Cabrera bounced out quickly for out number 2. Now 2-2. This looks like a cutter. A little fastball that has a little late movement to it. Two and 2 to LaRoche. And another 3-ball count. Runners will go. Factor because Abreu doesn't run well at all, but if you give him a 25-foot head start, might make the difference on a hit to the outfield. 3-2 to Adam LaRoche. And LaRoche strikes out for the 7th time this year. A tedious first inning, but the Twins will take it. They've got a 1-0 lead. It didn't take long for Chris Herman to have to come out of the ball game.
Yeah, first pitch of the ball game, he took one off the mask, but Suzuki himself bothered a little bit by that right sore thumb, then took one off the shin area.
That was the first pitch of the game, and Herman ended up suffering a cut over the bridge of his nose. I asked him about this pop-up because you can see him shake his head from side to side. He said the pop-up didn't really bother him, but he left the ball game right after that. And again, bottom line is he reports that he's fine today. He passed all the concussion tests. Suzuki at the plate, and a hot shot up the middle of base hit. So a leadoff single here in the second. And that'll bring up Jordan Schaefer. Schaefer's been a part-time player for a lot of years now, and in his major league career has hit a total of 12 big league home runs, but 2 of them have come against this guy.
Yeah, Schaefer's been with the Braves a couple times, the Astros, and now the Twins.
Swing and a miss. 94-mile-per-hour fastball, and we've seen that fastball a number of times here today. Clocked at 94. One strike. Fouled back, 2 strikes. Hoping for a quicker second. Let's hope to tack on another run or 2 to the lead. Up and away. We saw from Noesi in the first inning, he got ahead of a lot of the hitters early, but then couldn't put them away.
As I mentioned before, Conway's always a spot starter. 98 games at the major league level. This is his 49th start. 12 wins, 27 losses, an ERA over 5.16. So there's the inconsistency that he has shown.
And Schaefer got a piece.
As a starter in 48 starts, 10 wins, 24 losses for Noesi.
Twins will face Jeff Samardzija tomorrow and Chris Sale on Sunday. Schaefer hanging tough. 3 o'clock start time here, and you may have noticed the shadows starting to creep out in front of home plate. Tomorrow and Sunday, the games will start at 1 o'clock. Twins home opener Monday will be at 3 o'clock against the Royals. 1-2 again to Jordan Schaefer. Another one fouled to the screen.
Good battle right here by Schaefer. Keeps fouling off that high fastball.
Calling a balk, and that will send Suzuki to second base, I'm guessing, saying that Noesi never stopped in the stretch. But the balk was called almost immediately after the ball was delivered to the plate.
Huh. Didn't look like a balk to me.
So Suzuki hit second, 1-2 to Schaefer.
Now see if Schaefer move him over.
Foul and out of play. It looked like there was a pause in his delivery. Maybe the balk called for another reason. And you saw Schaefer foul the pitch back. The balk rule doesn't stop action. If Schaefer had hit a gapper or a home run, the offended team gets a choice of if accepting the penalty for the balk or what the result is when the pitch is delivered. And Schaefer strikes out. Suzuki at second now with one away. Girls on the Run Twin Cities uses running to inspire girls to be healthy and confident. Saturday, May 30th, join the Fox Sports North girls at the University of Minnesota for the Girls on the Run Spring 5K. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events. Now, other than a 5K, I'm going to ask how far is that? You'd say, well, it's half as long as a 10K. I know that. But it sounds to me like, what, just over 3 miles? Is that about right?
A little 3.1.
Okay. Here's Dozier, 1-0. And twice as long as a 2.5K.
Very good.
And a miss. 1-1. Back 1 and 2. Twins got one clutch hit in the first inning. Mauer's RBI single, but had the bases loaded, 2 out. Arcia popped up. Runner in scoring position here, and technically Schaefer had an at bat with a man in scoring position, but struck out.
I think what the Twins have seen from Noesi so far, a lot of pitches up and he strikes them.
Batters have fouled off 11 pitches. One flipped into right field, over the reach of Johnson. Suzuki had to play it safe. He'll only gain third base.
Kind of a check swing. Thank you very much. Johnson a little upset. Thought maybe he should have got back a little quicker, but watch, kind of a half swing. Little serve over Johnson's leaping glove. The Twins have runners at first and third. Suzuki did have to make sure that ball hit the grass, and he scoots over to third.
Now Escobar, who was hit by a pitch, it was the second pitch of the at-bat, can still see in the dirt where the ball landed just beyond the grass area. It came up, hit Escobar in the chest, a wild pitch, advanced into second, and Mauer brought him in with a single. This is this type of situation. Now, the Twins have the lead. They have some speed on the bases in Dozier. This is where I think we're all going to be very interested in as to how the new manager is going to manage situations like this. How aggressive will he be in sending runners? Down the right field line, and there's no hook on that ball, and it is a foul ball.
Oh, wow.
First base umpire John Hirschbeck made the call. It's a very close play, and people are looking at each other in the Twins dugout right now. They spent an early challenge in the game yesterday. Let's take a look and see where the ball actually landed. Width of the ball foul, it looks like.
Boy, not by much, but it does look foul.
Escobar got jammed on that ball a little bit, so there wasn't much hook on it. And it nearly dropped on the line. 1 strike to Escobar. And now 0-2. Dozier took a step toward second but retreats.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about, Dick, is Dozier, good speed at first base, 21 stolen bases last year. Can he get into scoring position by stealing a base?
0 for 11 in Detroit. Maybe the surprising number there is that they had 11 at-bats with men in scoring position, given how few hits and walks they took. 0-2 to Escobar. Trying to add to a 1-0 Twins lead. And Escobar strikes out. And that will bring up Mauer.
Big strikeout right there for Noesi, going with the fastball in. And Escobar swinging over the top.
drove in the first run of the ball game. In that case, it was a 1-out RBI single. Now he'll try to deliver a 2-out hit. A hit in every game. Going from memory now, I believe 2 of them to right field and 2 of them to center field. Pitches already after the next one for Hector Noesi. Check swing, ball 1. Discrepancy in-house here. The ballpark has Noesi with 51. We have the accurate number of 50. Because on the balk, no pitch was counted. One and one. He's left 3 on in the first, hoping not to leave Suzuki and Dozier aboard here in the second.
Average amount of pitches you'd like to have as a starter, probably between 13 and 16 per inning. This is pitch number 52. Webby trying to get out of the second inning. .34 in the first. Pitch number 20 coming toward home plate. This inning. Hit a man, walk 2 in the first. The base runners are aboard here in the second on base hits. Cubs have not run against Noesi that much. Last year, 27 starts, 7 stolen bases in 9 attempts. Success rate. Check swing. 2-1. Appeal to third base. Bill Welke says no swing. 2-1. Hector Noesi has really been struggling so far here today. Mauer can make him pay again here in the second inning. 3-1. Hunter on deck. Wind at one time blowing out to left, now blowing straight out towards center. So Joe can get one airborne. And it's a walk to fill him up for Hunter. Third walk of the ball game. Don Cooper making his second trip to the mound with Hunter ready to hit here again in the second inning. You know, in our open we showed you some highlights over the years of this White Sox-Twins rivalry, and it certainly isn't what it used to be, but it wouldn't take much to get things fired up again between these two teams as they both hopefully get better. You can combine your love of the Twins and the Golden Gophers by attending University of Minnesota Night at Target Field on May 1st against the White Sox. Find out how to see the game and receive a limited edition maroon and gold Twins cap. Visit twinsbaseball.com/U of M for tickets and more information. You know, Chicago opened up in Kansas City in that 3-game series. The highlights that I saw, there was some guys getting hit and balls thrown behind the runners, batters. Yeah, there's a little edge there between the White Sox and the Royals. The snapshot of the rivalry at its height, though, was Torrey Hunter coming in and flattening Jamie Burke, which we showed you in our open. That summarized the intensity that this rivalry had for many years. 1-0. 1-1. That, like the Tomey home run against the White Sox that we also showed you, were the pivotal plays of those 2 seasons, both coming late in the year.
1-1. And Torrey again, a swing and a miss. We've seen a lot of swings and misses, and Schaefer was up there fouling pitches away, and whether the shadows have anything to do with it or not, I don't know. But I don't know that Noesi's got that great a swing and miss stuff, does he?
He's up in that zone. He's in that area. It's hard to catch up to at times. That high fastball.
And Hunter on a breaking ball strikes out to leave the bases full for the second inning in a row.
MRI that he had done on his sore right elbow came back clean, but as you'll see in our Sanford Health injury report, he has some inflammation, which means he is going on the 15-day disabled list tomorrow. That also means Trevor May will come up to start the Twins home opener on Monday. This is obviously a big spot for a young pitcher, and Paul Mulder joked today they're going to go out beforehand and show him it's still 60 feet, 6 inches to home plate, and the bases are still 90 feet apart at this level. But all kidding aside, Mulder did say he expects May's experiences last year will have taught him how to manage his emotions a little better this year. Dick and Bert.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Kind of like the movie Hoosiers.
Right.
Yeah. Basket still 10 feet tall.
Alexei Ramirez will lead off the second against Tommy Malone. And a first pitch strike. All season long, the White Sox will wear the number 9 on their jerseys. Commemorate Minnie Minoso, who passed away March 1st. Here's a pop-up wide of first. Bauer crossing the line just once, making a foul ball catch, one away. And Ramirez taking it an extra step today, wearing Minoso's number 9, fellow Cuban. Minoso every bit as important to the White Sox as Tony Oliva, fellow Cuban, is to the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, Minnie Minoso, we've had a chance to meet him over the years. That Tony Oliva type personality.
One down, that'll bring up Gordon Beckham. Beckham has returned to the White Sox as more of a utility player. Saw a lot of them, of course, at second base. Dealt to the Angels last year.
Yeah, 5+ years for the White Sox. Then late August, traded to the Angels. And wanted to come back here. Signed a 1-year contract.
The foul ball took another bite out of Suzuki. Done a lot of things with on television to enhance the viewers' enjoyment with microphones and all that. I'll bet we'll never get away with putting a microphone on a catcher's mask while they're in the game. I don't think that would be a good idea. Liner to Dozier, a quick second out.
And that's exactly what Tommy Malone needs. 4 pitches so far here this inning, 2 outs.
And now the Chicago catcher, Tyler Flowers. White Sox have won 7 straight home openers, including last year's here against the Twins. Sale beat Ricky Nolasco. Under less favorable weather conditions than what we have here today. What a gorgeous day today. Hi.
Very, very lucky.
1 strike to Flowers. We were lucky to land safely yesterday. We landed and flew through a terrible thunderstorm, devastating destruction in north central Illinois, tornadoes and the like. Up and away.
Yeah, it wasn't quite like a R.A. knuckleball, but pretty close.
Dickey, yeah.
R.A. Dickey, excuse me.
1-2 to Tyler Flowers. He's 1 for 10 against Malone with 6 strikeouts. Another strikeout, and Malone has a quick 1-2-3 inning. A 9-pitch inning for Tommy Malone, and when we come back, Kenny Vargas will hope to hit a home run or at least refill the bases for the Twins.
Link, your link to what's next, by NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Vargas on a half swing. Strike 1 from Hector Noesi. Vargas threw a walk in the first inning. The Twins have scored once. I didn't mean to put an exclamation mark at the end of that, but they have left 6 men on base. Up the middle. It skips to Ramirez. Away. We're going to take a look at our Carsoup.com trivia question.
I think we're 3 for 3, aren't we?
I think so. But who's keeping track? How many Twins have more home runs hit as a Twin than Torrey Hunter at U.S. Cellular Field? Morneau hit 3 in a game here once. Here's Plouffe. He, too, drew a first-inning walk his first time up. Noesi has walked 3, hit 1, given up 3 singles. 1-1. See if Roy Smalley can discuss in the postgame show whether the shadows really impact a hitter. It's just brilliant sunshine in the rest of the field. And about the place where hitters first are able to pick up the spin on the baseball, it darts into the shadows. I would think it would be effective.
Yeah, I think we've talked to Roy about that before, and I think once those shadows get right around the pitcher, then it's tough.
Yeah, I think I would agree. 2-2. You can see the ball in the pitcher's hand, as you can now. 2-2. Pop fly short left. Cabrera coming in and he makes the catch. Out number 2. If I can remember Roy's description of it, so the toughest is when the pitcher is enveloped in the shadows, and the background, the hitter's eye, is in brilliant sunshine. We're not quite there yet. 2 down. Here's Arcia. Bases loaded. Twins leading 1-0, and Arcia had a chance to break the game open, but he popped up near the pitcher's mound, and Beckham made the catch. Harsh pull shift for Arcia here, with Beckham not too far, about 30 feet off the baseline, but 3 infielders bunched together on the pull side.
Outfielder still pretty much straight away.
1-1.
Garcia in right field, shading him a little bit toward right center, but a lot of room down that right field line. If he can pull it in the air.
1-2. And now with 2 strikes, Beckham will move toward second base and away from the line. Two and 2. Malone had a quick 1-2-3 second inning. Noesi trying to put together a similar third inning. Full count with Suzuki on deck. Tip Flowers hangs on. 4 in a row set down by Hector Noesi.
RBI single scoring Escobar in that first inning, giving the Twins a 1-0 lead. And Tommy Malone so far, couple innings, he's thrown 34 pitches, couple strikeouts, couple walks.
Struggled with his control in the first inning, but had a much better second, and now he'll face Micah Johnson, Adam Eaton, Melky Cabrera. Johnson a speedster, and the White Sox, like a lot of teams, including the Twins, like to have some speed in the ninth spot in the batting order. And a bunt. Suzuki pounces. Not in in time. Beautiful bunt by Micah Johnson. It's the first hit of the ball game for the White Sox.
In his rookie season, you can see the speed and a pretty good bunt because it went out to the mound. Got on that grass. Suzuki, great play, bare hands, wheels and throws, and Johnson beats it out. You can't do any better than Suzuki did right there.
It's close play.
The first hit to the speedy Johnson at first base.
And now Adam Eaton worked the count full against Malone, lifted a fly ball to left field, caught by Arcia.
Tommy Malone, very good move to first. That will help.
Eaton bluffs a bunt, takes a strike.
Malone over his career, 11 career pickoffs. He had a couple last year.
Plouffe in on the grass at third. And bunted hard and foul, 2 strikes.
Adam Eaton, a guy that the White Sox need to stay healthy. In his second year with the White Sox, last year a couple times on a disabled list. Played in 123 ball games, did hit 300.
Runner goes and the pitch grounded to second. Dozier looks, throws the first one away. Johnson moving into scoring position. And that'll bring up Melky Cabrera. Cabrera with a bouncer to Escobar's first time up. To third base, they've got him picked off, and Johnson is thrown out.
Nice read right there by Tommy Malone, keeping an eye on Johnson. He was going to go on first movement, but Malone did the spin around, stepped, and then threw over to Plouffe to get to Speedy Johnson.
The left-hander's inside move for the second out. A little bit low, ball 1. And now a swinging strike. He said when Johnson was at first base that Malone does a nice job holding runners, and very true at second base as well. On the ground again to Escobar. And Tommy Malone faces just 3 men, as it turns out, in the third inning. light. Twins' best road record since 2010. Of course, Houston new to the American League. Twins with a winning record here. Pretty good record in Cleveland. Almost 500 at Yankee Stadium. That's a little surprising. It'll be Suzuki, Schaefer, and Dozier for the Twins here in the fourth. Roy Smalley texted me, by the way. He said, yeah, it's tough right now for a hitter to try to pick up the spin of the baseball right now, but it will get worse as soon as the shadows extend over the mound. 1-1 to Suzuki. And you'll hear more of Roy's analysis on the postgame show, working with Anthony LaPanta. 2-1. Twins kind of let Noesi off the hook in the first. They got a run, but left 3 on. They got him off the hook again in the second. And then in the third, he set down the Twins 1-2-3.
Yeah, he's settling down nicely. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks in a ball game. Twins only have a couple hits, or 3 hits all. 3 singles. Suzuki, one of those hits, leading off the second inning.
He stepped into that pitch, 3-1. Sixth 3-ball count for Noesi. Tapper to third. Beckham has it. And 1 away. Schaefer to first. Put down the yard tools. Pick up your glove. Check out the new 2015 Weekend Warrior ticket package. Get all Friday, all Saturday, or all Sunday home games. Become a Twins season ticket holder and get your ticket to summer. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com/weekendwarrior for more info or to place a deposit. Here is Schaefer. Struck out against Noesi. And he takes a strike on the outside corner.
I was watching Beckham make that ground ball and then, get that ground ball throw to first. And Ramirez got to feel a little strange. I mean, for 6 years, they were the up-the-middle duo. Beckham and Ramirez. Beckham kind of a utility-type player. Always good hands, as the matter is if he can hit up here.
1-1 to Schaefer.
Twins know he can hit. Ramirez.
Over for a strike, 1-2. As we begin play today, there are 5 teams 0-3 in baseball. These 2 teams are 2 of them. Some teams that are supposed to be pretty good and maybe even in postseason play are off to 0-3 starts. White Sox are considered to be a vastly improved team. The Marlins are 0-3. The Pirates are 0-3. The Brewers are 0-3. Schaefer strikes out. Number 2.
Strikeout number 6.
That'll bring up Dozier, who's kind of punched a base hit over the reach of Johnson in the second inning.
Looks like a fastball down. Looks like a little cutter right there.
Twins with 3 hits today against Noesi. And there's Dozier driving into the gap in left center and in the sun a little bit. Melky Cabrera comes in to make the catch. 7 in a row now. Set down by Noesi.
MVP type players.
Don't miss your spot, because then a fan catches the ball.
Not fun facing them, but he feel like he's done a lot of good things for that organization and that team, and I think everybody on that team enjoys playing with him.
He's brought a lot of life to the Chicago White Sox organization. Great year last year. A guy that, again, stands right on top of the plate against the left-hander Malone. You look at this big guy that, hit 36 home runs last year, 107 runs batted in. Try to pitch him down and away. So far, Malone, everything has been inside. In his first at-bat, 4 fastballs, all inside. And you want to show him that you go in, and then, of course, Malone with that great changeup, down and away. Make him chase a breaking ball down if you get ahead in the count. Just don't make a mistake up.
Again inside, missing 2 and 1.
Kind of watch his mannerisms too on the mound as you're releasing that ball. Everything inside, now going away. And he pulls it foul.
First among all players, not just among rookies. Tied for 3rd in home runs. And boy, did he come along at the right time for the White Sox. And nice play by Dozier playing behind the second base bag. The shift pays off. Abreu retired. The White Sox were in the process of transitioning away from Paul Konerko, a right-handed first baseman who had been the heart and soul of their team. And just as Konerko was about ready to fade off into the sunset, this guy came along.
Well, even though that ball was middle in, you see how quickly it got to Dozier. Nice play by Dozier, shading him up the middle. So the shift works there.
Avisail Garcia drew a walk. Second of back-to-back walks issued by Malone in the first. Ball 1. Swing and a foul, 1-1.
Talked a little bit about Malone having that surgery over the winter. It was a benign tumor in his neck that bothered him almost all of second half of last year. He said after the season he got an injection in there and it still didn't work. He ended up seeing a specialist and they diagnosed it with that benign tumor. And he said right away he felt so much better.
1-2. And Garcia strikes out number 2.
Strikeout number 3 for Malone. Went up in the strike zone, and Garcia, very aggressive swinger. Swings through it, that high fastball.
And now Adam LaRoche, who struck out swinging to end a threat for the White Sox in the first inning. And LaRoche now has struck out 7 times in this young season. And Malone, who was off with his control in that first inning, but now he really seems to be spotting things well.
I think we've seen it from all the starters, from Hughes, Nolasco, even though he got injured, Kyle Gibson. That first start, you're a little pumped up, and first couple, 2-3 innings, you hopefully get through it, and then you settle down nicely.
2 strikes to LaRoche. Said his dad, former teammate of yours, is going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, Dave LaRoche, his pops is coming in. Spent a couple of days with his son.
One and two. Right on the outside corner. And Malone is breezing into the middle innings here. He's faced the minimum number of batters in innings 2, 3, and 4.
Escobar to start things off here in this inning. And we mentioned earlier that his fiancee Eucharis gave birth to his third son earlier today. His name is Jose Emmanuel. And Escobar actually posted a picture on his Instagram account of the newborn baby. Again, he'll go home after this game today and then fly back after spending a day or so with his newborn baby and fiancé. Back to you.
Escobar hooking one to the corner in right. He'll round first and go to second. And the former Chicago White Sox utility player gets a leadoff double, just the third extra base hit for the Twins this year.
Yeah, all of them doubles right there, but Escobar getting his first double. Well, he played in yesterday's ball game. He had some good at-bats. He had some deep fly balls. That hanging breaking ball right there kind of spun. Good solid swing by Escobar, who had 35 doubles last year. Gets his first here to lead off the fifth inning.
Mauer with an RBI single and a walk. On the outside corner, a strike. It doesn't take teams long to revise scouting reports. One strike to Mauer. This is about as straight up an outfield that Joe's hit against in a long while. The left fielder Cabrera is playing in standard position for left, and center fielder eating a couple of steps into the gap in left center. But Joe, so many times last year, would hit that slicing fly ball into the left field corner. There'd be somebody standing there, and now he's made a concerted effort to try to pull the ball, and maybe already we're seeing the defenses reflect that.
I think this is a third at-bat for Joe, and I think every pitch I've seen, pretty much what Nessie and also Flowers want to do is pitch Joe hard in. Try to make him pull that ball.
His base hit was on a pitch seemed to be sailing down and away, and he still was able to hook it, pull it into right for an RBI single. 2-1.
Now Flowers sitting away.
And there's a foul fly back into the seats. Talking with Tom Bernansky, he says that pulling the ball, it's just something that physically Joe, because of the oblique pull, had a hard time doing last year. Kind of relearned some old habits.
I think we talked about it in spring training. What Tom Bernansky and Joe Mauer, I'm sure, would like to do is gap type hitter, left center, right center. Hit the doubles.
2-2.
See if he can get Escobar over to third.
Now full count, Hunter on deck.
Another pitch inside.
Dirt. Mauer takes his second walk. He's reached all three times. First and second, nobody out for Torrey Hunter. Here's a look at today's Pepsi fans of the game. It's nice to see this Chicago-Minnesota series, at least the games here in Chicago. All three series are weekend series, so Twins fans are able to make the trip over here, or if they're somewhere in between, a little easier to watch their team play on weekends. Hunter's already left four men on, a man on in the first when he popped up to second, and then he struck out to leave the bases full for the third out of the second. Already 91 pitches for Noesi. Andrew Albers is warming up. Matt Albers, I beg your pardon. Strike one.
Nice stop by Flowers.
Very nice stop. It's 1-1.
Well, one got behind him on a wild pitch this time. I don't know if the glove got it or the shin guard knocked it down.
scored in the top of the first. Missed one other opportunity in the second to add to the lead. Another opportunity has presented itself here in the fifth. Fastball again, a swing and a miss, 1-2.
Fastball at 92, 93. We've seen that range right there, that high fastball, just tough to catch up. Sometimes pitchers are hard to pick up. They have that short arm type of delivery like Noesi.
Pop up again. And Abreu comes in. Infield fly rule was called. Hunter retired, 1 down. That'll bring up Vargas. Vargas drew a first inning walk and then bounced to short his first time up. I like to think that Vargas is going to have a long career in a Twins uniform, and within that you'd think he'd hit a lot of home runs in this ballpark. Twins have had a lot of left-handed batters that have really enjoyed hitting here. Kubel, Mauer, Morneau. Vargas, of course, a switch hitter. Swing and a miss, 1 strike.
Yeah, with the wind blowing straight out, little left center, nobody's really hit the ball deep to center or anywhere yet. See the flags blowing straight out.
Side, 1-1. Sliced foul, 1-2.
Kind of a defensive swing right there by Vargas.
Single and a double and 10 at bats so far for Vargas. Also drawn a couple of walks. Looking for his first run batted in. A piece.
Pitch number 100 for Noesi.
Fouled off a leg.
It's a little cutter slider. Ouch, right off the right shin. That has to hurt. It's 162-38. First 2 innings were a struggle. He needed 58 pitches to get the first 2 or 6 outs.
1-2 to Vargas. Popped up again. Fly rule called again. 2 down. And we'll bring up Plouffe. Plouffe with a walk and a fly ball to left. Just a couple of ground ball outs and a series of weak pop-ups against Noesi. Flowers buying a little time here. We'll see if the White Sox make a move for a new pitcher. Not sure what James Hoy, the home plate umpire, is waiting for. Now he takes 1 step toward the mound as Flowers comes back. Plouffe 0 for 1 today. 1 for 10 on the year. Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler.
Good time to pick up his first run batted in.
Smothered by Flowers. Fouled straight back.
Again, that high fastball at 93. So Noesi still able to, at 103 pitches now, get that fastball in the low 90s.
Saw Scott Baker do that a lot of times, and we saw a lot of the end result, a lot of foul balls when Baker would pitch, and the pitch count would be up to about where it is now for Noesi, over 100 in the 5th inning. Up and away. 2-1.
Four walks, 6 strikeouts.
Two and one to Plouffe. Nice block by Flowers. Whenever the White Sox go to the bullpen, presumably Flowers will be the most relieved man in the ball game. He's had an adventure with Noesi on the mound. 3-1, and if Plouffe reaches by any means, Arcia will have another chance. And a walk will fill him up. And Arcia, who had the bases loaded and 2 out in the 1st inning, was retired on one of those weak pop-ups. It will be Don Cooper coming to the mound, and not Robin Ventura.
Now walk number 5. Third time the Twins have loaded the bases.
Monday on NASCAR Race Hub, they'll have a complete recap of everything that went on in Texas, including Winners Weekend, as the Sprint Cup winner takes us through their weekend for practice to the checkered flag. NASCAR Race Hub, Monday and every weekend at 5 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And Don Cooper probably telling Noesi, look, remember how you got Arcia out in the 1st inning? High fastballs? Get him out again here in the 5th, same way. It's been a mess for Noesi with the 5 walks, 8 3-ball counts, a balk, a hit batter, a wild pitch. And yet he trails just 1-0.
I was going to say, just a 1-0 ball game.
That gets away from Flowers, and scampering home is Escobar. Another wild pitch.
That second wild pitch of the ball game for Noesi. And Escobar scores for the 2nd time in a game. A hard breaking ball.
Well, that ball did what it was supposed to do. It hit Flowers right in the chest, but he must not have had his shoulder squared because it kicked to the side.
A lot of spin on that ball, and Flowers turned a little bit.
And now Arcia will be intentionally for Suzuki. In the middle of what is almost certainly going to be the end of his outing after this at bat, Noesi actually settled down and retired 7 men in a row. And now the pitching change will be made. And White Sox fans aren't very happy with Noesi and his lack of control here today. The bases are reloaded. The Twins have a 2-0 lead. Matt Albers will come in to pitch to Kurt Suzuki, with the Twins in front in the middle innings.
ball on the ground.
I love playing in Chicago.
A great place to hit, and that's coming from a former hitter.
I never will forget how far that Oswaldo Arcia home run went.
U.S. Cellular Park, as far as playing baseball, is awesome. Fans, not so awesome.
Speaking as a player who probably has been booed here more than any other visiting player. Matt Albers, new to the White Sox, will face Kurt Suzuki, and the Twins have the bases loaded for the 4th time today.
Albers making his 2nd appearance. Good fastball, slider, curveball, and a changeup. An off-speed pitch right there for strike 1.
White Sox remaking their bullpen, and by the end of the year, they hope to have Jesse Crain back in their bullpen, the former Twin. He, like Albers, has had some shoulder problems. And that's a heck of a catch by Flowers, and how Suzuki avoided getting hit by that pitch, I have no idea. That ball was right around his shoe tops.
Yeah, that went right at his shins. Watch Flowers right here. That ball just kept tailing down and in. Suzuki falls to the ground. Flowers able to get that ball in his glove.
One and one. Chop to the right side. And Johnson makes the play. And for the 3rd time in the ball game, the Twins leave the bases full. They add another run in the 5th.
Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery Winner Circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Tommy Malone's pitched very well here. He issued a couple of 2-out walks in the 1st inning. He's been pitching with the lead throughout. The only hit the White Sox have is a bunt single. And Micah Johnson will face Ramirez, Beckham, and Flowers here in the 5th.
Good pitch count, too, after 4 innings. 54 pitches, 34 for strikes. Couple walks, like you mentioned, Dick, in the 1st inning. 4 strikeouts.
And Ramirez takes down and in, ball 1.
Ramirez in his 8th season with the White Sox, an all-star for the first time last year. Has 99 career home runs, 17 against the Twins. Career .318 hitter against the Twins. In his career, a .277 hitter. So he has enjoyed hitting against Twins pitching.
And again, Malone working inside, missing in off the plate, 2-1.
And like Abreu, he's a right-handed hitter that stands very close to home plate. Very quick hands.
Busted bat and an easy play for Dozier. 1 away. As Malone was vying for the 5th starter spot, if you just looked at the numbers, forget the fact that he's left-handed. If you just looked at the career numbers, you'd have to say he was the front runner all along. He is the only pitcher the Twins have, the only starting pitcher that they have who has both a winning record and an ERA, a career ERA of under 4, almost exclusively as a starter. Swing and a miss by Beckham.
Well, he knows how to pitch. You know, he just got that knack. Like we talked about at the beginning, he's not overpowering. He has to hit his spots. He works both sides of the plate. We've seen him work a lot of these right-handed hitters hard in. That sets up that changeup. There's a fastball just missing inside. 13-game winner in 2012 for the Oakland A's. 12-game winner the next year. And then traded over to the Twins. Kind of fell out of the rotation with Oakland. Kind of opened the door for the Twins to get him as the Twins traded Sam Fuld over to Oakland.
Well, the A's were stockpiling starters, including tomorrow's starter, Jeff Samardzija. And that kind of made Tommy Malone the odd man out. 1-2. Foul back.
Tommy's that type of pitcher. I think somebody would go back and say, you know, I had a comfortable 0 for 4 against him.
1-2. And that in the dirt to the backstop. 2-2. At the time of the trade, and again, he spent a significant amount of time in Sacramento away from the A's, but for Oakland, he was 6-3 with an ERA of 3.55. And he couldn't crack the Oakland rotation because they had Lester, Samardzija, and Sonny Gray, and guys like that. The Twins needed an effective pitcher. They didn't get one last year because he had the cyst in his spinal cord. 2-2 to Beckham. But this is an organization right now, the Twins organization, that's a little thin in left-handed starting pitching. Hit down the left field line, deep to the corner, and a foul ball. That is foul by about as much as Escobar's was in the first inning.
Down the right field line. That looked like a breaking ball, just stayed up, and Beckham turned on it. You can see the mark right there. That's where the ball hit, right there.
Flowers pointing that out to Robin Ventura. Ventura came out of the dugout to perhaps challenge.
Well, just took foul.
So Beckham making a bid for just the second hit against Malone. And we'll get back in the box with the count 2-2. Well to left. Arcia back. Leaps and makes the catch on the warning track. Beckham with 2 good swings against Malone. One a strike and the other an out on a nice catch by Arcia.
That might be the hardest hit ball off of him. He did open up quickly, but Arcia, good tracking on that ball going back and on the warning track. See where he was at. Able to get that line drive out. Tommy Malone says thank you very much.
2 down, and now Tyler Flowers. Half swing. I think he went. Nope, says first base umpire John Hurstack. That's how that's supposed to work, right? A right-handed batter's up there. He checked his swing. Home plate umpire isn't sure, so he checks with the first base umpire. Back. 1-1.
Flowers in his 7th season with the White Sox. He has some power, but the average always down last year. Hit .241, but a career .218 hitter.
Foul back again. The only year that Malone spent a full year in the rotation and in the big leagues, 2012, he made 31 starts for the A's and pitched 190 innings. And if you do the math, that's more than 6 innings per start. Flowers strikes out again against Tommy Malone. He's now fanned him 8 times in 12 at-bats. A 2-0 Twins lead. Tommy Malone has given the Twins a huge boost.
Exactly
with a
what the
very
doctor
good
ordered.
start.
Yep.
5 shutout innings so far. See if the Twins can add to the lead. Jordan Schaefer is going to try to bunt for a base hit here. He has struck out twice against Noesi, now facing Matt Albers. Strike one.
And Beckham in on the grass, taking that bunt away from Schaefer. Abreu at first, about even with the bag at first.
Bunt took down and in, 1-1.
Albers did a little starting in his career, but most of his work has been out of the bullpen. He moved the Houston Astros back in 2006.
Now 2-1.
We saw a little bit of Albers when he was with the Orioles, the Red Sox, Indians. Last year with Houston.
Some shoulder problems last year. Foul back. 2-2. Schaefer, Dozier, and Escobar here in the top of the 6th. Schaefer's fouled so many pitches. He battled Noesi in each of his 2 at-bats before succumbing to a strikeout, and now fouling off some more pitches in his 3rd at-bat. He's had 6 foul balls in his 3 plate appearances so far. Now 3-2. I'd love to get Schaefer aboard. He runs very well, and would like to roll the lineup over with Dozier, Escobar, Mauer, maybe some others. Chance to bring him in. Left-hander Dan Jennings warming up. Foul back again. Foul number 7. White Sox have 2 left-handed relievers, Zach Duke and Jennings.
Yeah, both lefties new to the organization.
Talked about the Twins having a bullpen makeover. It's really a makeover for the White Sox. New closer David Robertson. Kyle Drabeck, picked up from the Blue Jays. And with a second hop, almost ate up Abreu. Albers at the bag, 1 away. 1 down in the 6th. Follow the Twins season in 2015 with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. It's up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. 1 down, and now Dozier. Strikeout, single, and lineout.
I got to say this before you do. I mean, Elbers went to cover first. Flowers went out to help Elbers get back on the mound along with Beckham just to take a little time. Let him catch his breath. That's a long way to run for the world's best athlete.
There you go. Strike 1. One strike to Dozier. And now a ball. Down and in, 2-1. Twins hoping that in the 4th game of the year that they will get Paul Molitor his first win as manager. It's a slow start to be sure. 2-1 the count to Dozier. I'm not suggesting for a moment that by season's end the Twins will, or fans will, confuse this Twins team with the 1969 Twins, but when Billy Martin took over the Twins in 1969, that team, which was probably the best Twins team ever that didn't win a World Series, they started 0-4. Billy Martin had to wait for his 5th game to pick up his first win. Dozier drives one to left. It is deep. It is back and gone. Brian Dozier with the first home run of the year for the Twins.
Another Tommy Hawk on a high pitch right there. A line drive home run, a no-doubter. So Dozier, who led the club last year in home runs, hits the first one for the Twins this year. 3-0 Twins. Dozier on his second hit of the ball game.
Eduardo Escobar scored the first 2 runs for the Twins, hit by a pitch, scored in the first, then he led off the 5th with a double and scored in the 5th inning. Again, after the game, Escobar will leave the ball club, head home to the Twin Cities, a little number in front of Beckham, and goes out Escobar quickly, 2 down. Take another look at Dozier's home run.
Watch a quick bat right here, Brian Dozier. Ball left up, kind of ran right into his swing. And Dozier hit 23 home runs last year. Hits the first this year, 3-0. Well, that sounded good, didn't it? And that's coming from a former pitcher.
And now Mauer reached in 5 straight plate appearances with 3 walks and 2 hits. 1-0. Joe drove in the first run with a first inning single to right field. A pair of walks have followed. Taken low, 2-0.
Albers with that herky-jerky type delivery. A lot of movement.
And if what we have seen so far this year from Joe, all of 3.5 games into the season, is what we will see, I think what we'll be seeing is what we used to see from Joe, and that is a guy who feels really comfortable at the plate, just taking another walk. Last year Joe didn't hit very well, but he also didn't walk very well. Walked just 60 times. And walks today, and Mauer on the year has 4 walks. Basically trying to get his on-base percentage back to over 400, which is what it normally is. Here is Hunter. Ones have had guys on base all afternoon long for Torrey. Yet to get a hit today. 1 hit on the year in 14 at-bats. Molitor suggesting that tomorrow Hunter might get a day off with tough righty Jeff Samardzija. You know, and that's something that might disappoint Twins fans to some degree. Torrey is going to get more time off, with the acknowledgement reluctantly by Torrey and everybody else that he's turning 40 years old this year. He's not going to be able to play 140 ball games this year.
Last year for the Tigers, 142, so probably in that range right there, 130, 140 games.
Mauer with a huge jump, and Hunter taps the foul. Joe just took off. Albers never appeared to even look at him. Carsoup.com trivia question. I think Joe's on the list. Maybe Justin? Jason Kubel and Justin Moore. Orikoski just off that. Just ahead of Hunter. Scooped up.
Kadire now at New York Met.
A home run for Brian Dozier. A single run for the Twins in the 6th, and they have a 3-0 lead.
Presented by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us.
Lead has grown to 3-0. Tommy Milone has been very sharp here today. He'll face Micah Johnson, who has the only hit against him, a bunt single, leading off the third inning. And then a short while later, Milone picked him off.
He has a perfect bunt, too, because it got out on the grass. Suzuki jumped out from behind home plate, made a great throw, but the speed of Johnson just beat it out.
I guess it's not correct to say that he picked him off. Johnson took off for third base, and Milone took the inside move, or used the inside move, and threw him out at third base. 2-1. Johnson, Eaton, and Cabrera here in the Chicago sixth.
Johnson just 24 years old in his rookie season. 125 minor league stolen bases.
And that foul tip got Suzuki. Two and two.
A couple of years ago, Johnson stole 84 bases in the minor leagues. He was caught 26 times. That's a lot of running.
Getting on base a lot. Flip foul over the Chicago dugout.
You look at Johnson in the number 9 spot, and then Eaton leading off, two speedsters. Something the White Sox didn't have for a long time. They just relied on a long ball.
Johnson protecting the plate, trying to. Good battle here. Johnson extending the at-bat against Milone. And another foul. Over 400 minor league at-bats last year and 69 strikeouts. Milone still trying to get him here to lead off the sixth. And he got him.
And strikeout number 6 for Tommy Milone. It's been everything, like I mentioned, what the doctor has ordered, because the Twins needed the starter to go deep into the ballgame, and Tommy Malone's been able to do that. A couple walks in the first inning. He only hit the bunt single off the bat of Johnson with 6 strikeouts. Right now it's 78 pitches.
Adam Eaton with one down, and the base is empty. Bauer with a nice pickup. He'll scramble to his feet, and Eaton is retired on a hot ground ball.
Boy, after a long at-bat with Johnson, you love that as a pitcher. Forget that first guy to hopefully hit the ball at somebody. Nice play. Nice scoop right there by Joe Mauer. And he tags the bag for the second out. So a quick out.
Milone trying to pick up his first win as a Twin. Camden Yards today. Mark Burley, a left-hander who, not unlike Milone in terms of what he throws. Milone probably throws a little bit harder than Burley does at this point. Burley picked up his 200th major league win today.
Congratulations, Mark Burley. Once a Chicago White Sox. Big part of that 2005 World Series team here.
1-1. White Sox have only hit 2 balls out of the infield all day long against Milone. 1-1. To center. And Schaefer in the shadows of the light standard makes the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Milone. It's the 5th inning in a row where he's faced just 3 batters. Casino story of the game.
Twins got on the board. First RBI of the year came off the bat of Joe Mauer. That scored Escobar in the top of the first inning. A wild pitch scored Escobar. That in the 5th inning after he led off the inning with a double. And then we saw Brian Dozier hitting the Twins' first home run this year, making it a 3-0 lead. And Tommy Malone has been outstanding. 6 shutout innings and retired the last 11 straight Chicago White Sox.
Dan Jennings comes out of the Chicago bullpen, coming to the White Sox from the Marlins. He'll face Kenny Vargas, Trevor Plouffe, and Oswaldo Arcia. Fastball up, ball 1.
Yeah, Jennings with a fastball in the low 90s. Very good slider and a changeup.
Up the middle, hits Jennings and rolls into the short outfield grass in center field, and they'll check on Jennings right away. I'm not sure where it got him, but Vargas will get a leadoff hit here in the 7th.
There's a right-handed hitter, that breaking ball right back at the pitcher Jennings. It ricochets off of him. And it hit hard enough that it ends up in short center field. So Vargas gets his first hit.
Plouffe with a couple of walks, 0 for 1 on the day. Strike on the outside corner. Jennings, some upper Midwest heritage from Des Moines, Iowa. Took Brian Dunsing's spot at the University of Nebraska as a left-handed pitcher. A few years after Brian left. Up and away, 1-1.
The White Sox had Matt Thornton here for a long time, kind of the same type of build as Jennings.
One and one. Called strike, 1-2. Tapper towards second. And Johnson will get force play at second to Ramirez, and Plouffe will reach on a fielder's choice.
Yeah, the ball not hit hard enough to turn to double play. Johnson making sure he gets one out.
Owning Twins season tickets provides much more than a guaranteed seat. Season ticket holders enjoy exclusive rewards and as part of the Sweet Spot Benefits program. Season ticket plan to fit every fan. You can learn more about package options. Just visit twinsbaseball.com or call 800-33-TWINS. 1 on, 1 out, and now Arcia bat against a lefty. He's up there with the bases loaded for the second time in the 5th inning. The first pitch was a wild pitch. Second Twins run scored, and then Arcia ended up being intentionally walked. Here is a pitch inside off the plate, and he hacked it over by Gene Glynn in the third base coach's box. One strike. And a fastball on the outside corner. There he is. He was named the first ever Mr. Basketball in Minnesota in 1975, and as I've explained to Gene, that explains why I didn't win it in 1974. They didn't have the award. There were a lot of other reasons, but that's got to be the number one reason right there.
If I were you, I would stay with that story.
Two strikes to Arcia. Bowers with a nice block. 1-2. Twins still envision Arcia being an everyday player. They don't want to think of him in terms of being a platoon player only against right-handers. So these at-bats, part of the learning process for Arcia. And a base hit to right. Plouffe will round second, go to third. And Arcia is going to dig for second. And he is out at second base.
Arcia looking in the dugout like maybe I got my hand in there before Ramirez made the tag. A good throw by Garcia out in right field. We'll have her on the phone to see if there's maybe an appeal.
Pretty good job by Ramirez. Sweeping the tag around. There'll be no appeal.
It looked like maybe his left hand got on the bag, but it kept going past the bag. So it's a base hit for Arcia. Trevor Plouffe stops at third base, but he's thrown out 9-6.
It's a costly out. Suzuki will be walked here to get Schaefer to the plate, but you would have had a runner at third base with less than 2 out. You'd like to think you'd have a pretty good chance of getting that runner in. Check with the manager as to whether he likes that aggressive style of running by a hitter, trying to take an extra base. I thought it took a pretty extraordinary play by Ramirez to catch the ball and kind of sweep the glove down in a blind tag.
And it's a good, strong throw, so you got to get to know the outfielders, too, what type of arm they have. A good throw by Garcia in right.
First and third, and now Schaefer will get a chance against the lefty. Schaefer 0 for 3. Schaefer 1 for 3 against lefties this year. Right to Abreu on 1-0. Twins get a couple of hits and add to a 3-0 lead. During his entire rookie season last year, his ranks among rookies all time prove that point. 29th most run batted in, 6th most home runs, 65th best batting average, and the 9th best slugging percentage ever for a rookie.
Yeah, Abreu, 28 years old, 10 years in Cuba. He hit an average of .341, so this man was born to hit. A lot of home runs in Cuba, 178.
A walk in the first inning, hit a smash up the middle right at Dozier, who's playing again behind second base for the Abreu at bat. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier, and again Malone working Abreu inside off the plate. Dozier retreats to get the humpback liner, one away.
Again, staying inside with that fastball. It's not an overpowering fastball, but even Abreu right there, kind of ripping off his batting gloves. Is a little upset. That ball got into his kitchen.
Had a cutter inside?
Well, just a fastball. Good location.
19th out for Malone, and the first time a starter is, for that matter, thrown a pitch in the 7th inning, much less gotten an out.
12 straight retired by Malone.
Of Asael Garcia. Outside, ball 1. Now look early on as if Malone was going to match Noesi in terms of inefficiency on the mound with a long first inning, but that's really the only inning where he's had any difficulty at all. 3 hoppers scooped up by Escobar, 2 down.
Yeah, 25 pitches in that first inning, and then you had 9, 7, 13, 16. And this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Adam LaRoche. Base is empty, 2 gone very quickly here in the 7th inning. Ball 1. And a lazy fly ball center field. Schaefer's over in a very quick 7th inning for Tommy Malone. A 1-2-3-6 pitch inning. Batters in a row he's set down. He's given up just 1 hit. That came on a bunt in the 3rd inning. Ball one to Brian Dozier. Homer to left his first time up. Couple of hits and another well-hit ball for Brian on the afternoon as he's re-inherited the leadoff spot. Expect to see Danny Santana back in there tomorrow. Strike two call. Or excuse me, a strike one. It's 1-1. Dozier, Escobar, and Mauer here in the Twins' 8th inning. Two and one. One hopper to Beckham. One down. Bring up Escobar, who will leave right after the game today to head home and see his newborn son for the first time. The baby born this morning. Twins will be a player short for the balance of this series. So we would expect Santana to be back at short and in the leadoff spot. Eduardo Nunez on the roster. He can fill in around the infield in the short term. Swing and a miss.
Escobar hitting right-handed for the first time in a ball game.
Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Escobar, 26 years old, originally signed by the White Sox. It's been a couple of years here. Traded over in the Francisco Liriano trade back in July of 2012. Nasty slider.
And Flowers tags Escobar. Out number 2.
Jennings picks up his first strikeout in his second inning of relief.
Mauer, who's got 2 hits and 4 walks in his last 6 plate appearances. Over for strike one, breaking ball.
That's a hard slider. You'll see a lot of those hard sliders on Sunday with Chris Sale on the mound.
Yes. Well, he'll throw a lot of them, whether you see him or not. It's another matter. And now 1-1. 4 hits, 4 walks for Joe so far on the season. The first run batted in of the year, not just for him, but for the team in the first inning today. Made a nice play in the field at first base. Ooh, foul back.
The lady down in that first row took that foul ball. Hopefully she's all right.
One and 2 to Mauer. Two and 2. Joe was a type of player that would draw more walks than strikeouts. But over the last 2 years that have not been Mauer's best years, certainly last year wasn't. Numbers kind of swung around in the wrong direction. And a strikeout of Mauer here. Jennings has a 1-2-3 8th inning. Thank you, Anthony. 6 outs to go for the Twins. How many of them Tommy Milone will get remains to be seen.
Yeah, 88 pitches, 57 strikes.
Strike one to Alexei Ramirez, a foul out to Mauer, and a bouncer to Dozier. Up and in with a fastball. Critical pitch for Milone to have success, and we've seen him do it. All the Chicago right-handed batters, that fastball in off the plate. 1-1. And now 1-2. There obviously haven't been too many pitches under duress. I suppose the pitches to Garcia and LaRoche in the first inning after the walk to Abreu, but that's been about it.
That has been it. J.R. Graham, Brian Dunsing warming up.
Swung on and missed.
I mean, that's perfect setup right there. First 3 pitches inside, then he turns it over with that changeup down and away. Strikeout number 7. 15 in a row retired by Tommy Milone.
91 pitches thrown and only 15 from the stretch position. That's quite a departure from the last couple of days. Here's Beckham. Ball 1. Beckham with a liner to Dozier and a fly ball to Arcia. The ball hit to Arcia out on the warning track was probably the best hit ball of the day for the White Sox.
Yeah, Arcia made a great catch. Well, there have only been 3 fly ball outs to the outfield.
Foul back 1-2. He's worked quickly. He's worked ahead.
You know, and it's not an overpowering fastball, but it's in the right spot to where now the hitters are adjusting to open up, and you saw almost what Ramirez did, and then he paints that corner with that changeup down and away. So hitters thinking inside, and then now you have, there he goes outside again, and it just missed low. So that is pitching, and that's what Milone has done here this afternoon.
Three and 2 to Beckham. Malone, who had some control issues in the first inning. This is his first 3-ball count since the first inning. Fouled back. Another 3-2. Popped up. Near the mound, Mauer calling for it, making the catch. He had to climb the mound like Beckham did in the first inning.
You know, let's go back to Alexei Ramirez's at-bat. Watch Milone how he works inside. Suzuki sits inside. There's strike 1. Suzuki again inside. That's up and in, but you see Ramirez's reaction. Another pitch. This one down and in. Ramirez pulled it foul. Now the changeup. Take a little off. Turn it over. And a strikeout. That's working both sides of the plate.
It's Flowers. Fly to left center field. Schaefer chasing it. And it lands on the warning track. And Flowers has the first hit. First swing-away hit against Tommy Milone here today. And it's a 2-out double.
Remember Flowers, he had struck out, 8 out of 12 times against Milone. So he jumped on that first pitch. It was a fastball, looked like it was up a little bit. Only the second hit, and the first one to leave the infield. High fastball, Flowers finds that gap out in left center for his first double of the year.
It'll be the last pitch thrown by Tommy Milone. Left backhand hitting Micah Johnson is up, and the Twins are going to bring Brian Dunsing in. What a much-needed performance. He put some zeros up early, allowed the Twins to add to an early 1-0 lead. A great performance and a good chance for his first Twins win here today.
Great job.
In the big leagues is I've been able to be somewhat consistent, and when I came here I just wasn't. I just didn't pitch well, and whether it was just trying too much, trying to be that guy, pressing to be that guy, I think that's in the past.
He's gotten the game into the 8th inning, 2 outs in the 8th, and now Brian Dunsing to face Micah Johnson. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, big slider right there. For Dunsing, he worked in yesterday's ball game, 1 shutout inning, threw 18 pitches, 11 strikes. Did have a walk, and that was it.
One strike to Johnson with 2 gone in the 8th. Foul back, 2 strikes.
Brian, 32 years old, in his 7th season with the Twins. Those numbers against the Tigers yesterday.
Fastball just off the plate. 93 miles per hour. It's the top end for Brian Dunsing. Breaking ball, and Johnson did a nice job making contact there. He was fooled on that pitch, but still got a piece of it.
Yeah, he had a good at-bat in the 6th inning off of Tommy Milone. Kept fouling off some pitches, and finally Milone able to strike him out.
He worked him away, and then, as I recall, got him with a fastball inside. Another 1-2 pitch. That's to left. And caught by Arcia to end the inning. They had him playing in the corner, and he had to come out to a more standard left field to make the catch, and it's a scoreless 8th. Frustrating 3 days, well, 4 days in Detroit. 3 games and much better ball game all around for the Twins. Not much in the way of clutch hitting, but 3 runs on the board and a great pitching performance by Tommy Milone. And now Milone is out of the ball game. Zach Putnam will pitch for the White Sox.
Yeah, Putnam making his second appearance. He took one of the losses there in Kansas City when the Royals swept the White Sox in that 3-game series. In his second season with the White Sox.
The face Hunter 0 for 4 in the ball game, and Torrey takes a strike. Hunter, Vargas, and Plouffe, middle of the Twins lineup. And Hunter, and one of those ruts hitters hate to be in, but it seems like every at bat he's up there 0-2. Inside, 1-2. We're having a tough time getting the ball out of the infield here today. Now 2-2.
It's that split finger that Putnam has.
7 hits for the Twins, but they've taken a whole bunch of walks. Taking advantage of some walks and wild pitches. Roller up the middle, and it'll bleed into center. Lead off single for Hunter. And that will bring Vargas to the plate.
Oh, what a day for Tommy Milone. Great job. This is the only hit coming in the ball game up until the 8th inning, when Flowers hit the double, but Tommy Milone was sharp. 7 2/3 innings through 100 pitches, 65 for strikes, and remember 25 of the 100 were in the first inning.
Right.
We settled down nicely.
Vargas with a single and a walk so far on the day.
At one point he retired 16 straight Chicago White Sox.
Up and away, ball 1. Field foul over the Chicago dugout. 1-1. Right now, a 3-run lead means it would be a save situation in the bottom of the 9th, and that's why Glenn Perkins is warming up. You get in the game regardless, even if the Twins scored 2, 3, or more runs here. Tapped foul. Trying to get his team's first win of the year and his first win for the Minnesota Twins. Another 1-2 pitch to Vargas.
Couple throw-overs to Torrey Hunter. He's not the base stealer he once was. Last year, 4 stolen bases in 7 attempts, 193 career stolen bases.
Under off-speed pitch, and he lunges after it and gets a piece.
It's that split finger. Putman, 27 years old, came up with the Indians. Has also pitched for the Rockies and the Cubs. Last year did a good job out of that bullpen. 49 relief appearances. He had a 1.98 earned run average. He had 55 innings pitched. So he's one of the holdovers in that bullpen for Robin Ventura.
Upstairs, one away. And that'll bring up Blue. Blue has walked a couple of times. Seventh throw over to first, isn't it?
He's worried about him.
Swing and miss. One strike. To center. Eaton's out there. Number 2. Join Fox Sports North for the Minnesota Twins kickoff to the home opener tomorrow, starting at noon at the Mall of America Rotunda. Join them for tailgate games, giveaways, prizes, meet the Fox Sports North girls, and more. Plus, catch Twins live from Mall of America studio starting at 12:30 p.m., followed by the Twins game on the Rotunda big screen. Visit foxsportsnorth.com for more details. Arcia with a single. His last time up was out trying to make it a double. One for 3 with a walk. There goes Hunter.
He got a great jump.
Stole that standing up.
You know, Putman, I was watching him. He has that high leg kick and, you know, all the little throwovers. But Butch Davis over there with a stopwatch and talking to Torrey Hunter. Torrey stealing the Twins' first base of the year. So he gets into scoring position with 2 outs.
1-0 to Arcia. Blocked by Flowers. Hunter stays put. Trying to position the White Sox fielders.
Yeah, telling Ramirez to get back, get back.
And with stealing second and first base open now, that eventually means Arcia will get an intentional walk, his second one of the afternoon. And a chance for Suzuki.
Third intentional walk the Twins have taken here this afternoon.
And 9th overall, right? That's a lot of walks. Suzuki, first and second and 2 down.
Looks like Shane Robinson's going to pinch run for Arcia at first base. And he'll, I'm sure, take over in left field.
Suzuki singled sharply his first time up. Ended up drawing an intentional walk in the 7th. At the knees, a strike. Hunter to third base, and the pitch grounded toward the hole. Hunter's going to try to come home, and he will score! The 39-year-old man with a swift base-running maneuver. And the Twins get the 4th run. He slid into third, popped up, and took off.
How about Torrey Hunter? Again, Putman with that high leg kick, didn't pay much attention to him. Torrey taking off, the ball hit to the right of Ramirez, the shortstop. Could never really get planted to throw home. The ball getting away from Flowers. Torrey seeing and just keeps going. Scores the 4th run of the ball game.
Very nice.
Suzuki should get an RBI single for that. And both runners advancing on the error by Ramirez.
An error charge to Ramirez. And now Schaefer on a check swing. Strike one. The whole thing, the whole inning was set up by Hunter stealing second when Putnam finally forgot about it. Threw over there 6 or 7 times earlier. And then Torrey took off. Stole easily. That set up an intentional walk, which set up Hunter's burst toward third base. Suzuki put it in play, and eventually Hunter came around to score.
Well, he took that chance. He saw where that ball was. He knew that Ramirez was kind of behind him, so Ramirez had to go a long way to his right, and Torrey just rounded third and kept going.
2 quick strikes to Schaefer. Landed about 3 feet in front of the plate. Now, since the 4th run has scored, Glenn Perkins has not thrown another warm-up pitch. Might be that he was warmed up. Might be that he won't come in now that it's not a save situation. One in the 1st, one in the 5th, one in the 6th, one so far here in the 9th. Into short center. Down for a hit. And 2 more runs will score. Schaefer with a 2-run single. And the Twins have doubled their lead here in the 9th.
Yeah, Jordan Schaefer picking up his first 2 RBIs on the season. Fought off that pitch, hit it into short center field. Robinson scores. Suzuki scores. With 2 outs, off with a crack of the bat. You see Suzuki rounding the bag. Scores the 3rd run of the inning. 6-0 lead for the Twins.
And now Dozier. Over for strike 1.
Paul Molitor in line to get his first major league win as a manager.
One and one. We'll trust that Jamie Hirsch will be able to talk to the manager right after the game. 1-1 to Dozier. And a foul. That ball's going to spin back. And Flowers maybe remembered what Dozier did a couple of years ago at Target Field when he got a base hit that way. Hunter from the Twins dugout giving him a hard time. That actually was one of the more entertaining hits I've ever seen. He did this at Target Field.
Yeah, watch. He looks at the spin and he goes, "Yeah, that ball's coming back." And Flowers alertly knocks that ball into foul territory to make sure it didn't go back fair.
1-2. 2-2. It's the type of hit you'd expect someone to maybe get on artificial turf. But Dozier actually did it on the natural grass of Target Field and
almost tried it again.
Yeah. On a liner, picked off by Ramirez. Good inning for the Twins. Not so much for the White Sox. It's 6-0. Adam Eaton has taken a fastball over the inside corner for strike one. A breaking pitch down on the way. It's 1-1. The pitcher is Brian Dunsing. This is a safe situation for him, not because of the situation he's pitching into here in the ninth, but because of the situation he pitched out of in the eighth inning, trying to pick up his second major league save. That's a fair ball right over the third base bag. And Eaton scampers to second base, and he's in. The ball retrieved by Shane Robinson.
That kind of slash type double down that third baseline. Dunsing's other save came a couple years ago in Minnesota against the Milwaukee Brewers, extra inning ball game. He pitched the 14th inning, got the save. You see the ball away, and Eaton just hits it way down that third baseline.
The comfort of a 6-run lead. The ball boy down there kind of got. He tipped over when Shane Robinson went to pick up the baseball. One strike now to Melky Cabrera. Tommy Milone went 7 2/3 innings. Dunsing got the final out of the eighth, hoping to get the first out of the ninth in this at bat. Back to Dunsing, deflected to the second baseman Dozier, and they just barely get Cabrera. Dozier with a glance towards third, and it nearly cost him Cabrera at first base.
That ball in and out of the glove of Brian Dunsing. He had a play maybe on Eaton, but maybe took his eye off the ball. Nice play by Dozier. But Cabrera hustling down that line made it a lot closer. Eaton scooting over to third, 1 out.
And we'll see if the left-hander Dunsing has the same game plan against Abreu that the left-hander Malone did. Work him inside. It's the outside corner. Looked a little as if the target was inside. Ball 1. Ball, very short left field. Robinson coming in, and it's the shortstop, Escobar. Now he's throwing home, and they have him at the plate.
Well, he's calling him out because Eaton, I think, grabbed the ball out of his glove.
Now, we've got the collision rule and the running lane rule and all that. It's a great catch by Escobar and a throw right down the baseline to get Eaton.
Well, Robin Ventura coming out and talking to home plate umpire James Hoy. Watch Escobar. Good strong throw. 1 hop to Suzuki. And Kurt, he has plenty of the plate, but you can see he had it, the ball in the glove long enough. Eaton kind of fought that ball out of the glove, but right there, he's got the tag on him long enough to be called out at home plate.
Suzuki's lucky he didn't get his arm bent back. Clearly there was a sliding lane.
Yes.
And the ball...
You saw Eaton kind of open up his glove.
So the Twins not only pick up a win, it turns out
they got the shutout, yes.
2 left-handers tied up the White Sox, who continue to struggle getting hits and runs. And Paul Molitor has his first win as a Major League manager. And it took a wonderful pitching performance by Tommy Malone to help him get there.
And congratulations to Paul Molitor. Many, many more.
Escobar, the shortstop, ranging well down the left field line to make that catch and then throwing right down the baseline. It didn't obviously hit the runner. It reached Suzuki on 1 hop. The Twins, who were stymied and stifled in Detroit, start this series in Chicago with a rather convincing win.
You can't credit enough to Tommy Malone. He threw 25 pitches in that first inning. Of course, it's his first start this year. You're a little